Podcast Studios. This is After 9 with Scott and Kat.
Hey now!
Hello, friends.
Welcome everyone to another episode of After 9. Today is Monday, the 9th of September, 2024. Today is the most common day on the calendar to celebrate a birthday.
I always grew up with I don't have anyone in my family that's born in September, now that I think about it, but I'm surrounded by friends who all had a lot of them had September birthdays. It kind of coincides with, the holiday season?
They say if you're born around this time, you were likely conceived somewhere around the middle of December.
Oh, mid-December. Okay, so you know what, though? There's something about that time of year.
It's magic, Cat.
I get it.
Let's drop and do stuff, dirty stuff everywhere in the house.
The chill in the air, the fireplace is on, you're getting cozy. Yes. For sure.
Then a back rub turns into a baby in September.
Boom. Just like that. That's how babies are made.
September the 9th is number 1. September the 12th and September the 19th are all the most common days that someone might have a birthday. So if it's your birthday and you're listening to After 9, have yourself a happy day. We've now gone through the first full week of school.
Yes.
How'd the cell phone issues work out? Did you hear anything?
Yeah.
Because a lot of doom and gloom forecasts this time last week about how unmanageable it's going to be. I've heard nothing but great feedback.
I've heard fine things. I did get the official notification late in the week last week from my school board about it. And what I didn't even consider was smartwatches, but they are listed on there as well as no-nos. No smartwatches.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, they will also confiscate those. There's basically a 3-strike system.
Really?
So first strike, they'll say, put that away right now. If you do it again, they get to confiscate it. You pick it up at the end of the day. You have to sign it. And if you're under 18, of course, your parent has to sign that they saw that you got it confiscated. Third one, you can get not expelled. Help me out. I'm such a goody two shoes. You get suspended.
No.
They'll suspend you. Yes, they will. I never got suspended, but I did get sent to the principal's office once.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
What was that experience like?
It was weird because I was a really good girl, a really good student, and I skipped one class one time, and I forged my mom's signature. But you know what pissed me off? So I did.
You don't do things like that.
That's what my mom. You sound like my mother.
Kat doesn't even lie. Never. Not even a white lie.
I think that's why they knew it was fake. So when I skipped, I came back in. By the way, I was really close to turning 18, so I could have just waited. So I skipped. So the secretary at my school, I didn't like her. Nobody really did. So when I handed her the note, because you have to go and you have to hand the note when you miss a class, because I was continuing on with the other classes for the day, I had forged my mom's signature, which is really close to hers, but I guess she was onto it because she checked it with another one and it wasn't exact. Oh, you're so, what a fucking nice, good investigator you are. Anyway, so then she called my mom. You would tell I'm still bitter 20 years later. So she called my mom and she was like, yeah, your daughter had an appointment. And my mom's like, no. But then my mom was the most upset, not because I did it, but because she was like, I would have just written you a note to get out of class if you didn't want, because she knew I was a good student. She's like, you're okay. If you want to take a day, take a day. What a nice mom. But then I went ahead and forged her signature. So I think I got myself in trouble. I felt so guilty. I was like, I will go without seeing my friends this weekend, Mom. I'm so sorry. And then when I turned 18.
Volunteered for a punishment.
I did. And then when I turned 18, I skipped, but I could write my own note because I was 18. And I went right up to her, this is petty, guys. I understand this is petty, but I went right up to the school secretary in front of her, took out the paper and pen and wrote, I didn't feel like going to class, and signed my own name and handed it to her.
Really?
Because I could do that.
Wow.
Because I was an adult.
You got progressively more.
I know, that's as rebellious as it gets for me. That was it.
Once I went to the secretary and said, I didn't feel like coming to class.
Please and thank you. You look great today. Bye.
and sorry. Bye.
Sorry.
Don't tell my mom. Okay, well, I'm guessing the cell phone stuff went well because
I haven't heard anything, yeah.
All the doom and gloom last week and nothing. What about our first week with selling liquor in convenience stores? Because I went again this weekend, and it was just as convenient as the first time.
Good.
It was great.
Good. Are you finding okay, listen, I'm only interested in the wine part because I'm not a big beer drinker, guys. Honestly, that's it. So I'm just kind of more interested in the wine stuff. The only disappointment I've had is I hope the wine selection gets better. I understand supporting the Ontario wines. Don't get me wrong. But the one down the street for me, it's all on the shelves. There's none in the chilled section.
Really?
So I didn't want to be that picky person that's are you going to eventually put it in the fridge? Why is it sitting on the shelf? Because I'm not going to order I even like my red chilled. I'm that person, so I like it all chilled.
I'm glad you said that There's nothing wrong with drinking chilled red wine.
Thank you.
I know that the wine aficionados might say that's poor form, but if you research it, I mean, they've always said that red wine should be stored at cellar temperature. Cellar temperature is cold. It's not room temperature. Cellars are cold. So there's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel bad about that. I'd like to see a little more variety when it comes to the wine. I mean, no offense, but we've all had a lot of bottles of Josh over the years. We could move on to something new.
Something different.
You know,
a lot
like,
of
come on.
Jackson Triggs, and not to knock Jackson Triggs.
They're great.
Great estate there in Niagara-on-the-Lake, too. Awesome place to party if you're ever looking for a place. However, I like a good variety of things. But, of course, I understand that it's going to take time. I think it's going to be an evolving thing, right? We're going to evolve here. We're going to figure it out. Every store is going to figure it out for themselves. But congrats to them. The person who I talked to at the store was so happy. She said it was amazing. They were selling out of beer so fast. She said that they couldn't keep it on the shelves the first couple days. People were so excited. So I thought, well, that goes to show you that the convenience factor is there for people.
The one issue that I have with it all, and I'm not even sure if it's an issue, but it's still real easy, almost too easy, to just grab a drink off the shelf and go get in the car. Because for years, we've all been just going in and you open the fridge, you grab a can of whatever, and you drink it. Alcohol, obviously, you have to wait until you get where you're going. But I heard an interesting compromise on the weekend. I was talking to my son who lives in Indiana, and he was telling me, you know, I think this is great that they've got this here in Ontario. Dad, I'm happy for you because now you can just go to the corner store and get a 6-pack. It's awesome. But in Indiana, they also sell it in convenience stores, but they're not allowed to serve it cold. Everything has to be room temperature.
Oh, that's to avoid people cracking a cold one.
Just
Period.
going in, grabbing a beer and drinking it.
Right.
So that's a rule in that state and maybe even more states. And I thought, well, that's an interesting compromise.
Okay,
We're going to
okay.
make it convenient, but not the ultimate convenient where it's just crack the can and drink it right there. Unless you want to drink a warm beer. And I don't know many people that are excited about drinking a warm beer.
I wonder if they knew like the data on that before they just went ahead with it. And I say data because I'm talking about the States. I wonder if they knew all of it ahead of time, and or they've been working on it. You kind of trust that they know something, because some people would say, oh, that's kind of dumb, right? Chilled beer's fine. No one's going to crack it open. Well, maybe the experience has showed them that it has. So that's worth looking into, I think.
I think so too. But overall, the doom and gloom that many forecast last week has so far not come to fruition, and hopefully it doesn't. Let's do a couple of football things off the bat. It was so great to see football back yesterday.
Yeah, I'm happy for all the football fans. That's great.
I was in Buffalo on the weekend, actually not to attend the Bills game, which is a little uncharacteristic of me, but it was great. Bills Mafia is tailgating again. They've raised their game. I saw one guy get off the top of a bus through a table in the parking lot.
Jeez Louise, when does it end?
It was amazing. At first I thought, well, that guy just fucking died. But he didn't. But it looked like it when you jump off of a bus through a table.
Yeah.
So all that's great, but there's two headlines in football that are dominating all the others. Number one, and this is wild to me. Earlier than ever before, they've announced Kendrick Lamar as the Super Bowl halftime performer.
Thank you for saying earlier than ever, because I looked into it. I was so curious because I thought, wait a minute. We usually are at least a month into the season before we hear of these things. And rumors had been started. The rumors always start right after the Super Bowl performance from that year, right? I mean, let's face it. We've heard a bunch of rumors. And then I heard that it was Kendrick Lamar. And I thought, that can't be right. They don't announce that yet. But sure enough, yes, it's official. Kendrick Lamar. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good choice. You know what? I shouldn't say it's not a good idea. Specifically, it's not a good choice. I consider myself the demographic they want watching.
You're a mom.
Well, sure, I'm a mom, a woman, a non-football fan, but I will absolutely watch that Super Bowl halftime performance if it's of interest to me, like it has been the last few years. This one, to me, off the mark. I'm not going to tune in because it's Kendrick Lamar. I'm not.
I always love when they leak the list of who said no. I want to know who said no for them to end up on Kendrick Lamar, because I really don't think that Jay-Z went through his Rolodex and said, Kendrick Lamar is the one and only choice. There had to have been others that they offered it to, and they must have all said no.
And I understand that it was a hot topic this year. Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, all of that. And Kendrick Lamar is a good rapper, so please don't get us twisted.
One of the best.
We know he's one of the best. It's just about the demographic that they're trying to go for in the NFL, which surprised me. Now, Apple Music, by all means, has to be behind it as well. But they're not unhappy because Kendrick has a ton of streams. Yeah. So they're going, okay, cool. And Jay-Z's going, great. And Kendrick's going, yeah, But I'm thinking, okay, but I'm not watching. And I know a lot of my girlfriends in the same boat are probably not watching. I don't mean to just make it a male-female thing, but that's the true demographic. Those are the people they want watching the halftime show, the ones that aren't interested in football. But for me, I'm not interested in either now.
Yeah, some music appeals to certain demographics, and the demographic they want for the Super Bowl, I'll tell you straight up what it is. They want women between 25 and 54 years old to watch the Super Bowl halftime show. That's how they get all those ads sold for things like Tide and diapers and this and that. They go after that demographic. And I just don't know that they're going to hit it with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch. I don't think it's going to be Kendrick Lamar alone on stage. They're going to have to add people between now and the Super Bowl. And I'm curious to see who they add. You know, if they all of a sudden in December come out and say, oh, and Kendrick is going to be joined by Celine Dion. That's the sort of thing that they need. Or
could you imagine a Kendrick and Celine Dion?
Or here's Kendrick and Adele or something like that. That's what they need, a female pop star.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're a Nicki Minaj even. Like throw in somebody that makes sense that may get more female demographic in there.
Although if they were going to do Nicki Minaj, it would have been smarter in the first place to just book Lil Wayne. It's in New Orleans.
And Drake.
For
that matter. They're all a part of the same group. I mean, so we're just spitballing some names, but what we mean is, and what we think is going to happen, and I think we're right. Listen to me. But they may have to. Because as an advertiser, right, if you're ready to spend multi-million dollars on ads, and you look at Kendrick Lamar, because you really, those commercials in and around the halftime are usually the most expensive ones, right? So if I'm an advertiser and I'm like, oh, I got tons of money to spend, and I look at Kendrick and I go, I'm a female demo. When females are by all means mainly the shoppers in the household, so no matter what the product, you're questioning it perhaps.
Yeah.
So they may, if they find sales are at least a little wonky, that's when changes will be made.
I'm pretty sure something's going to happen between now and the game. The other thing I wanted to mention, though, and I want to just get this on the record before I go any further, the Miami Dolphins are total trash. Just an awful football team. Nobody should pay attention to them. We squish the fish at every opportunity.
Do they still have the really good colors, though? Are they the teal still? Or was that an old school color?
Teal and orange, yeah.
You know, but I like the teal. Listen to me.
Everybody
I go by
does.
This is why I lose football pools, because I go by the jersey. I'd be like, the teal, though. It's pretty. I love a teal on a jersey. I think it looks nice.
Well, they've got a receiver there, and his name is Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek is a somewhat controversial player because he's very outspoken, a lot of kids. And Tyreek Hill was on his way to the football game yesterday. It was Miami kicking off the season at home. And then very reminiscent of what happened at, was it the Masters or the PGA Championship? Scotty Scheffler, the famous golfer, you probably heard, arrested right outside the event. And it turns out the cop fabricated the whole thing. He said he got dragged. And then the video came out, and it was nothing like that. Scotty Scheffler did nothing wrong. This was just a cop that woke up that day and felt like being an asshole. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. The cop, I don't think, lost his job, but he was on administrative leave, I think, right?
Yes, something along those lines, yep.
Well, now fast forward to yesterday, Tyreek Hill driving a real nice car. I'm going to guess it was a Lamborghini, but I didn't see it exactly. Driving his car, real nice one, toward Hard Rock Stadium. Bam, cops pull him over. They said he was reckless driving. Whether he was or wasn't, I don't know. But I don't know a lot of people that when they get pulled over for reckless driving, end up in handcuffs face down on the ground as traffic is going by. And Tyreek Hill, I'm going to let him explain it to you in his own words.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because I think it's pretty obvious what happened here to the average person who can be objective.
I have no idea, for real. No idea, man. It's crazy. It wasn't disrespectful, because my mom didn't raise me that way. Didn't cuss. Didn't do none of that. So, like I said, I'm still trying to figure it out, man.
I guess the police officer was put on administrative leave. Were you aware of that?
Nah, I wasn't. That should tell you everything you need to know then. You feel me? It should tell you everything you need to know.
Tells me everything I need to know. So here's the way I see this story. This is the way it looks right now, just as having the same information that everybody else has. Seems like you got some cop who is a little too gung-ho about his job, pulls over a nice fast car. And again, we don't know if he was reckless driving or not, but he pulls over a car, sees a young black man in an expensive car and says, here we go, let's light it up. Cuffs him, lays him down on the ground. It looks like from one angle on one of the videos, another cop tried to kick his leg out to get him down on the ground even faster. And you just heard Tyreek say it. I wasn't cussing. I wasn't resisting. Wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, what was that about?
So then how the hell does he end up in handcuffs face down on the ground? Because frankly, the way it seems is probably what happened, and it stinks.
Right. Yeah, because if he was going to be charged with something, he'd be charged with something. And there's nothing here, right?
No. Now they
Nothing.
put the cop on administrative leave.
Yeah,
That's
good.
almost like admitting guilt. I'm
Good.
glad that happened. But Tyreek Hill asked a great question in his news conference, and I don't have the audio here of this particular quote, but I think it's important. What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? What if I was just some regular run-of-the-mill dude like you or me, and I got pulled over and ended up in that situation? Now, he's fortunate because he had the entire frickin' Miami Dolphins pulling into the parking lot at the same time going, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's when the cops realized he's supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But why did that happen in the first place? How much does this happen that we don't hear about? Because chances are, if it wasn't Tyreek Hill, we wouldn't have heard about this.
That's why I think those body cams on police officers are so important. And it's not just to protect citizens, it's also to protect themselves too, right? That's why I think it's so important. And I hope I don't know if every single outfit is suited with them, but they should be, because I think this is, again, it's important for both sides to be protected. And at least we know what we'll be able to find out what happened if the cop was wearing a body cam.
I want the cops to be able to do their job, and I want them to do the job to the best of their training and ability and so on and so forth. But it's very, very cut and dry. You don't need to do what those cops did when someone is not resisting and not being disrespectful. Hey, if a cop pulls you over and you want to turn into an a-hole, you go right ahead and deal with whatever comes after that. Because if you turn into one, maybe they turn into one, especially if you actually did break the law. In this case, I don't think any laws were broken. And even if there were, he certainly wasn't resisting. He wasn't even being disrespectful. I don't understand how this guy ends up face down on the ground just a few hours before he has to go out and compete in the NFL in front of 30 million people. It's crazy to me. But I hope that this goes somewhere. I'd like to hear more about what that cop was thinking. And frankly, if that cop didn't have the proper justification to do what he did, he should be fired and he should face criminal charges.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly, but it sounds like he did something criminal to Tyreek, not the other way around. And I hate the fact that this goes on still in 2024.
Can't have people attempting to abuse the power that they have.
Waterloo Regional Police say they've seized more than 200 firearms after a traffic stop over the weekend. Friday, 7:30 p.m., cops pulled over a vehicle for a traffic violation, and that's when cops spotted all kinds of guns and ammunition in the back. 39-year-old male driver from Guelph arrested and charged with careless use of a firearm and transporting a firearm or restricted weapon. Police say 17 guns were seized from the vehicle. Then they did a search warrant at the guy's home in Guelph and found 156 improperly stored firearms and then an additional 60 that were stored properly, but it just adds to the overall pile.
Jeez Louise.
This guy had like 230 guns. And I'm...
Why?
Okay, so I don't know much about this.
I'm going to ask the question everyone's thinking. Why?
Why, right? So a couple listeners, when we did this story during What You Need to Know on the radio show today, said they're members of different Facebook groups in the Guelph area, and people are discussing it. And a lot of people are defending this guy, saying he's a hunter, he's a fisher, or whatever. He's allowed to have the guns. So, I mean, if he's allowed to have the guns, sure, you're allowed to have the guns. If you've got the proper licensing, have at it. Why do you need 200 guns? That's a slightly... I'm a firearms owner, and I don't understand why you would need 200 guns, because you can really only shoot one at a time. Maybe two if you're at a wedding. Seriously.
No,
you
it's
need 200 guns
up.
for?
No, that's overkill, to say it the nice way. I suppose that there's collectors out there, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be collectors, but you got to do your due diligence, like properly. Clearly, this guy wasn't.
17 guns in the car. And because of that, they got the search warrant to search the guy's house, and that's where they found 156 more that were improperly stored and 60 that were stored properly, but he had them in his possession. Again, I don't understand what you need that many guns for unless you're stockpiling. And I think part of the reason that this story really heightens up people's awareness is because over the weekend or in the last week or so, there was like 3 different stories of people getting arrested that were planning various different terror attacks in parts of North America. Scares the crap out of me.
That's why I don't think it should be okay that people have that many. Nope. It doesn't matter if you're a hunter or not. There's only got to be like a few kinds you really need. Like, don't try to convince me you need 200. Nobody needs 200.
I mean,
police force doesn't even have 200.
He's better armed than some police
Yeah.
forces. Hey, you need a shotgun. Maybe you need 2 shotguns, one for like a slug and one for shot. Okay, 2 shotguns. And then maybe you need a couple different rifles, but you want a 22, and then you want something a little higher range, a little higher caliber. I get it. 200's a lot.
It's a lot.
17 for one hunting trip for one hunter? That's crazy. But I don't know the whole story. It's just something that's on our radar today. Meanwhile, Durham police arrested an 18-year-old college student after she made some social media posts threatening to carry out a school shooting in Oshawa. Police, this is a strange one. I didn't know cops could intercept our Snapchat messages. Did you know that?
I guess they could have access to anything if they needed to.
Do they need a warrant
Want
for
to?
that? I don't know.
I would think so.
I would think you got to at least go in front of a JP and say, hey, listen, we have reason to believe that somebody's doing something weird and we want to intercept their Snapchat messages. Does Snapchat participate in that? Do they have to give them access?
If they have the proper paperwork, if you will, I'm sure they do have to, yeah.
Well, Durham police say they were contacted by the RCMP on Thursday after the Mounties intercepted a Snapchat message that indicated a desire to initiate a shooting at a school in Oshawa. Investigators traced the message to this 18-year-old woman. She was arrested and charged with uttering threats. Okay, that should be the end of it. Nope. They searched her home in Whitby. Turns out this 18-year-old girl had multiple firearms and more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition.
Yikes.
What the hell
That's
is going on,
scary.
Kat?
That's scary.
What? Seriously, like
That's
I'm getting
really
freaked
scary.
out. They arrested a Toronto guy just outside of Montreal who was on his way to New York to carry out a terror attack against Jewish people. Again, I ask, what the heck is going on here? Did something change? I know we got a lot more people here than we used to.
Well, I could tell you that it's never been more divided in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a change because I know there's always been divide on many different topics and issues, particularly when it comes to war and politics. But I feel like it's really heightened right now.
Speaking of disagreements, that's what we'll call this. Today, the Prime Minister is kicking off a caucus retreat in Nanaimo, British Columbia. Before I get into the story, and by the way, they do a caucus retreat every year. They'll do a couple cabinet retreats and one caucus retreat where all the members of the party get together in one place and they have a big meeting.
Gotta love a caucus retreat.
That's what the Liberals are doing right now. What I don't understand is why are we, the taxpayers, flying all these Liberal members of Parliament and all their staff and all of their whoever's out to the West Coast to enjoy a couple of days of fun in the sun and fancy dinners and drinks and the whole 9 yards. Why are we doing that when we already have a place that's called Ottawa where they're supposed to get together and meet?
Yeah.
And it's right in the middle of the country. Why are there members of Parliament from New Brunswick flying to Nanaimo, BC to participate in a caucus retreat when we already have Ottawa perfectly set up for these things?
Yeah, they like to waste money. Like, I don't know. At this point, I think that a lot of people think it's fun and funny. Like, let's just spend more money on it.
All the parties have these retreats. I just don't understand why we're taking them off to different parts of the country when Ottawa is perfectly situated for it. But anyway, this is the first caucus meeting since the spring. First time Trudeau has seen most of these MPs in months, and a lot's changed since then. So the pundits, the political people, the talking heads on television, they're expecting the Prime Minister is going to get an earful from his caucus because they lost that by-election in Toronto. Then their national campaign director quit last week. And now they've got some MPs boycotting because the Prime Minister won't step down. And then the big thing hanging over all of them is the NDP has pulled out of that supply and confidence deal. I wonder if they are going to be successful in convincing Justin Trudeau to step down. Apparently, the caucus is worried that if they go into an election with Justin in power, they're going to lose. However, many would also say they're going to lose without Justin Trudeau because he's the only one they've got. I don't know what they do now. They're actually between a rock and a hard place.
I think so, too.
So they're meeting out in the West Coast. That's happening now.
A lot of innuendos, by the way, in there. It's great. My mind can't help it. Earful, caucus, pulling out, hanging over them.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of it.
You know when you're going to work and you just feel like it's going to be a bad day, or you know something's on your calendar that you got to deal with.
Like a
and
vibe is off, wrong,
Yep.
bad.
I imagine that's what the Prime Minister feels like right now.
Sure. And you know what? But the thing with that guy is that he'll act like it's not happening. No, it's fine. No.
He is the meme walking away from everything exploding behind him.
Yeah.
He is him. So good luck to him. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but damn, if you're one of those people who really wants an election, if you're one of the people who really does not like Trudeau, maybe you own an F Trudeau flag. This could be like a make popcorn and watch the news kind of week. This will be an interesting one.
The cameras are in there, sorry, right? Just to confirm.
Only parts of it.
That's what I don't like. Oh, the whole thing, damn it. You're going to spend all that money and get fancy and go do all this shit. Put the cameras on it.
That's the thing. We're paying for this.
Like, we're paying for it.
We elected you. You're supposed to represent us.
Let the cameras in.
Now we're sending you on a free West Coast vacation. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear a little bit about what's happening there and what the talk is like.
These are working hours, and I'm using air quotes. These are working hours for you guys. Put cameras on it.
They just mandated that the civil servants get back to the office, and we have no idea what these people are doing behind closed doors, and it's a little weird considering they promised transparency. I want to mention this quickly because I know there's a lot of people who will be traveling soon. Air Canada has said that as of this Sunday, they're going to start to wind down operations in anticipation of a pilot strike. 5,000 Air Canada pilots will soon be in a legal strike position, and it doesn't look like they're going to get a deal done.
Oh, not at all. That's going to be like such a disruptor. Like such a disruptor if that happens. I feel like we're like minimal anyway when it comes to airlines right now. I don't know what it is, but there's like a lack of flights. Yes, that's probably why, right? It's just we don't have a lot of options. So either the other airlines hopefully will try to grab some of those if this happens, of course, if this goes through. They're going to try to grab as many of those as they can and do extra flights so they can make that money, or I don't know, or people are just going to get screwed and get kind of stranded a little bit.
This is an Air Canada thing, and there's some people, if you don't care who you fly with, you just want to get from A to B or the cheapest flight, maybe you're flying on the Flares or the Transats and stuff like that. There are some people, my own dad included, who are so committed to Air Canada that if it's not an Air Canada flight, they're not going.
Yeah.
If they have to go somewhere that Air Canada doesn't fly, cross it off the list. They'll only fly Air Canada. And I have to think a lot of it has to do with the Air Canada lounge. It's great.
Yeah.
If you're a frequent flyer and you get access to that lounge, everything in it's free. Free drinks, free food, free everything.
And
you can even take a shower. It's awesome.
The food's good too. Like, I mean, if you've ever seen inside of it, you could probably Google it. I'm sure people have videos online if you don't know what we're talking about. It's like, it's a good buffet. It's all you can drink. Like it's literally all out for a buffet for you. Like just enjoy whatever you want.
Like draft taps, pour your own.
Nuts. Yeah, pour your own everything. It's crazy.
And because of that, people are very committed to Air Canada because they know they don't get the perk unless they fly AC. But if you've got a flight coming up, say, next week, and Air Canada says now, starting Sunday, we're going to start to wind down operations in anticipation of the strike, do you hold out and hope they get a deal done, or do you flip that flight over to WestJet?
You don't take your chances if you're about to go somewhere important, I think. I think there's a lot of... They're going to wait it out a little bit, but because people are going to be on it. If this happens and the strike goes through, people are going to be flocking to try to get another flight. So you might be smart to switch now. If it's cancelable and you'll get your money back, then just keep an eye on the other options now is what I would say to anyone who has an Air Canada flight booked.
I'm one of those people that'll take the cheapest flight. Unless somebody else is paying, just get me there from A to B as quickly as possible. And I have no problem flying Transat or Flair or a few other airlines that have now become defunct. It's frustrating to me that if Air Canada does go on strike, and that would certainly be a blow if an airline that size in any country went on strike. It would be. But most of the time, the other airlines can pick up the slack. If Delta or United went on strike in America, you bet your butt JetBlue and Southwest and Spirit and Frontier and all those other airlines would step up and cover off the routes.
Yeah.
Price might go up a little bit, might not have as much choice, but they would step up. We're screwed if Air Canada goes on strike because there's no alternative to a lot of different cities.
Yeah.
And frankly, WestJet doesn't go everywhere, and those WestJet flights are going to fill up quick.
I feel like what would be popular if that's the case is people even crossing the border to try to fly the way that we're going to fly. You know what I mean?
I'm so all about that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for years. You got to live near a border, and if you do, it's great. I can be at the Niagara Falls, New York airport in 38 minutes if there's no line at the border.
Great.
And you will save hundreds of dollars flying America to America as opposed to Canada to America.
That's right.
It's on our radar. That is something to watch. Air Canada pilot strike is possible. What else is coming up this week? Oh, TIFF continues this week.
It does.
Selena Gomez today?
Selena Gomez tonight, her premiere, and J-Lo was there this weekend, and Matt Damon showed up in Ben Affleck's place because apparently Matt wasn't going to attend initially, but he and his wife went. Those were really the highlights. Angelina Jolie was another highlight, though.
I didn't see much about Angelina Jolie. J-Lo was all over my timeline.
Yeah, all the eyes are on her because of what happened, right?
And she's hot.
Sure, fine. Yeah.
When you look like that at 50, it helps. Hey, she had a little sidebar with Matt Damon, didn't she?
Oh, that's what they say. Well,
Her ex-husband's best friend, presumably the best man at her wedding.
definitely was there at the weddings. They had multiple. Apparently, that's not good luck. He was part of the film too, though. It's a Ben Affleck, Matt Damon production, right? They're what is their Equitable Movies or something? They're weird. The weird company that they have. I say weird company, I mean weird company name. But yeah, so he was there, and apparently at the after party, they had a good 20-minute conversation.
What was that about?
Yeah, I don't know.
How's Ben? Is he seeing anybody?
Do you think they brought up Ben?
Yeah.
Or do you think
I think
so?
100% it went right to Ben. Jen, let me talk to you about Ben, or tell me what happened.
so?
Something.
Really?
He might not even know the whole story. Maybe he doesn't know her side of the story, and we all know there's two sides to a story.
Sure there is.
So, hey, he gets an opportunity to hang out with his best friend's recent ex-wife. They're going to chat. They've worked together. They have history themselves.
Yeah.
That's going to be they can cut right to the chase. What's going on? What happened? Love to know what they talked about.
They could have, yeah. I don't think, I mean, what would be the point of talking about work? You're pretty much premiering the film, unless you're talking about the other places that you need to be because of the film. I don't know.
Love to keep speculating, and I will. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. It's Monday. That means on our radio shows, we do Missed Connections. So we will leave you today with the replay of Missed Connections.
Bye, friends.
Missed Connections. Missed Connections on the Scott and Kat Show.
There it is. So here's what's going to happen, everyone. Popular segment on the show. It's called Missed Connections. There's people out there, they had an encounter with somebody else, and they can't find that other person now, so they told the story online. Sometimes it's Reddit, sometimes Craigslist. We go everywhere to get these missed connections. These ones, amazing.
This is called To the Used Car Salesman. I was car shopping and I tried to take this little Volkswagen Golf out for a test drive. I didn't want you to come with me. You were doing that salesman thing, being a real lingerer.
That salesman thing.
Like trying to make money for their family and stuff.
Would you like to
I
see the
hate when that
car?
happens.
Yeah, can I show you around? What kind of budget are you working with here today?
I was rolling my eyes at you, pointing out features that I don't need or want in a vehicle. I don't have babies and I don't plan to. So I was a little annoyed with you talking about how you can fit car seats easily in the back. Anyway, I said fine to you coming for the ride. Annoyed at the time, but kind of thankful I did.
Don't they usually insist on coming along? I thought that...
No.
No, they don't want to go?
No, it's not that they don't want to, but they give you the option.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't know what happened. It could have been that sweet smell of the tree air fresheners that set the mood in the air.
It's like the forest.
Or the vent that was blowing your hair around as much as it could with all that gel in it. But wow, it was on. I put my hand on your thigh.
What?
We pulled over and hopped in the back seat.
No, you didn't.
Eventually, we made our way back to the dealership after an amazing 5 minutes.
Well, we're in a hurry here. We're on a test drive. We're not going to drag this out.
I asked you for a discount on the car because you and I both know what happened in there. You knew I was right, even though you were pretty annoyed, but knew that your manager would probably be upset. You did give me a deal, and I thanked you and went on my way. The car's been great. Might come by to let you enjoy a round two,
Oh.
now that it's under new ownership.
Right. So they thoroughly inspected that vehicle, I'm assuming then, before she bought it.
So they checked for the baby seats in the back seat. Also maybe making babies in the back seat.
Right. Hey, that's a weird thing when you're out on a test drive and you just lean over and put your hand on the other person's thigh. That's not usually part of the deal.
No, I think that's kind of frowned upon.
But if it would save us some money, I'm not opposed to it.
We would probably be amazed at how many people are not opposed to it.
That might get you a lot further when you have to go into the business manager and talk about the undercoating and rust proofing and stuff. Maybe.
This next one is called I Caught You at the Toronto show. This one's unreal. If anyone's a witness to this, please come forward. To the drunk girl I saw at the Usher concert last Tuesday, you are hilarious. I know not many around you found you very funny, but I certainly did. You were getting loaded off what I assume was $20 cans of Cutwater at Scotiabank.
Uh-huh.
Smiling ear to ear and making friends. We met at the line for the bathroom area while I was waiting for my friend. You said hello and you seemed fun. After you got out of the bathroom, you were swaying side to side, standing by the merch store. A rather large girl was bending over at the store looking at some items and her butt crack was hanging low. That's when you bent over behind her and put your index finger inside the crack and said, diddle, 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 diddle.
No!
Security nearby pulled you aside to chat with you about your choice. The woman was clearly appalled, but I mean, again, I saw the humor in it, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure she learned her lesson, and next time hopes a belt will be at the merch store.
They should sell belts at the merch store.
They should sell belts so that doesn't happen.
Right.
Never, I've seen you've seen plumbers crack just out in public everywhere, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know if people are aware of it. Like, are they numb back there to not realize their whole butt showing sometimes?
If nothing else, it might be a little drafty or cold.
Drafty and cold, but never, ever, ever, ever did I ever think, I want to stick my index finger in there and say, diddle, 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 diddle.
You've never seen a hole and thought, I'm going to put my finger in there and go, diddle, diddle, diddle.
Did she wash her hands after?
Oh, that's a great question, because she was drunk, and sometimes drunk people are dirty.
They forget to do things like that.
But she probably bought popcorn.
Oh. This one's got extra salt.
Oh!
Oh, it's not right.
What do you do when that's just happened? You're bent over and you're looking at the merch, and then somebody does a little right there in the crack. Do you turn around and start swinging? Are you asking, hey, you want to go out sometime? Like, what's going on here in your head when that happens?
Leave immediately. I just leave immediately.
Don't look at anybody.
Don't look. Just walk straight out the exit.
Cover your face. Don't make eye contact. You just got to get straight out of there.
Guess I'm missing my favorite song, My Way, but that's okay. Someone just stuck a finger where it shouldn't be, and I'm violated for the evening.
The women who buy this gynecologist-recommended anti-sagging bra have to answer one question. If this issue necessitates your gynecologist getting involved, just how far are your breasts sagging? I mean, the Kansas City nuns who dug up this dead nun and said she'd barely rotted at all, and that proves something, have to be more specific. I've got sauerkraut in the fridge from 2005, but it's not on its way to becoming a saint. It's on its way to becoming alcohol.